When I was in high school, I was riding a bus, and it said 10 danger signs of diabetes. And I sat across the sign and I was reading, increase in thirst, increase in hunger, vision loss, always itching. I thought, frequent using the bathroom. And I'm reading all of these signs and said, you know what, I have every single one of these signs here. So I went to the doctor, and he ran all of these tests, a glucose tolerance test, a blood test. Came to find out, guess what? I'm a diabetic. I was declared 4F, and I couldn't go to Vietnam. Shucks. And you know the 5 danger signs of cancer, right? Danger signs of having a stroke. God gives us these signs as a warning, telling you how close the nearness of his return. He doesn't want you to be caught unawares, off guard. He wants you to be ready. And that's why throughout scriptures, 9 times throughout the New Testament, we are commanded to be watching. And when you're watching, you become ready. You will live blameless, holy, and spotless lives. He who has this hope in him purifies himself as he is pure in 1 John. So it changes your whole way of thinking, your philosophy, your priorities change. You're not taking a very casual look at the Bible. You want to obey everything in it. Amen? Now, I want to share you another illustration. And for the men in here who are husbands, I want you to not do what I did. But I asked my daughter for permission to share this story with you. Several months ago, my oldest daughter, the mother of, you've probably seen him running around. His name is John. He comes to our preschool once in a while. But I noticed that she used to come over for our house for dinner, and I noticed what a appetite she had. I mean, she was just gorging herself, and there was actual physical signs, and I thought, I think she's pregnant. So I asked my wife, I said, sweetie, is Tabitha pregnant? And she said, no, she's maybe gaining a little weight. She's not pregnant. And so I asked my youngest daughter, I said, Christina, do you think Tabitha's pregnant? She kind of looks pregnant. She said, oh, no, Dad, what a thing to say. She's just putting on a little weight. My mother, my sisters, my in-laws, all of the aunties, the sisters, everybody, all the females didn't see the signs. A few weeks passed by. Guess what? She's pregnant. Now, how come all the females couldn't see the signs, but I could? It's a matter of watching carefully for the signs, and it becomes so clear and so evident. But what's interesting, again, is that the irony of it all is that as we get closer and closer to the Lord's return, as you see all the pieces of the prophetic puzzle coming together, as you see everything clearer now, the prophecies are coming together, that more and more believers and non-believers scoff at messages on the second coming of Christ. Isn't it ironic? Now, take this week, for example. I mean, everything is falling apart in this past couple weeks. I mean, as one analyst says, it's coming unglued. I mean, if you are not paying attention, you're missing some of the most exciting and fascinating aspects of Bible prophecy that's being unfolded right before your very eyes. I mean, things are getting so interesting and exciting. And I converse with JD and I email with him, and it's amazing, right? The speed and the frequency and the intensity of everything coming together one after another, day by day, and the intensity is unreal. These things, back in the 80s and the 1990s, when I used to study Bible prophecy and I used to read books written by prophecy teachers like Willard Cantillon, Chuck Smith, Jack Van Impe, Howard Estep, Dr. David Brees, all of these older prophecy writers, those are the things that they said look for in the future. And this is what's going to happen. And they just connecting the dots, drawing logical conclusions, making educated guesses based on the prophetic word of what would take place in the future. And it's all transpiring today in this generation. And again, we cannot know the day or the hour, but we can know when it is near. We can recognize. So what are some of the things that's going to be fulfilled in the near future? Where are we on God's prophetic time clock? That I'm going to share on June 20th. So be sure to mark your calendars for June 20th, and I'll be back for that. But Dr. Charles Ryrie of the Ryrie Study Bible. Some of you probably have the Ryrie Study Bible. Dr. Charles Ryrie is one of the foremost Christian scholars. And him and Dr. John Walvoord, some of the books that they've written on Bible prophecy is very fascinating. But a prophecy scholar asked Dr. Charles Ryrie, do you believe that we are living in the last days? Are we that generation? And Dr. Charles Ryrie's comment was, of course, absolutely. And what he did was he picked up a euro and a Israeli shekel. This is a 10-euro note that's losing its value real quick if you've been following the news. And what's interesting, on the euro is a map of Europe, of the old Roman Empire. Fascinating. Now, one scholar had mentioned, this was on CNBC, Melissa Lee, a news commentator. She said that the euro is the only currency of Europe since the old Roman Empire. Amazing. And you think, what are the odds of the euro and the shekel coming into circulation just about, well, not really the same time, but in 1948, May 1948, Israel became a nation. One of the prophecies of the second coming being fulfilled. And of course, the euro came into circulation in the year 2000, but with the formation of the European Common Market, which was known in the year 2000, now it's called the European Union with 27 members. But 16 members are on the euro. A 17th one is going to be on the euro. But will the euro collapse? Some analysts are saying this euro will collapse below 99 euro. Right, at one time it was a 142, 144 euro to the dollar, and some were saying it would collapse to 125. This week it collapsed to 119. So there's a lot of worry in Europe that this contagion in Europe will spread, and I'll get back to this. But what are the odds of this all coming together? Now, Matt, if you can show me that slide 1. Right now, this past week, the stock market collapsed quite a few, in the past several weeks, it's collapsed about 1,500 points on the Dow. This week, it's taken a major plunge because this Hungary debt crisis, and of course, you know, the Greece debt crisis has caused a lot of worry in the financial markets. Some saying that this contagion in Europe will spread to the United States, and that's why a lot of investors are getting very worried. Hungary, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, their debt rating was lowered, and that caused a lot of panicking in the markets. And on Thursday, Friday, Hungary's situation is getting bad. Now, it's interesting that in Daniel chapter 2, it says that the revived Roman Empire, 5 will be partly strong, 5 will be partly weak. Iron mixed with clay. And of course, iron is strong. So some of the nations in Europe would be strong, some would be very weak. Now, Portugal is a very weak economy now. That's kind of teeter-totter.